Welcome to the JAMODI Podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, we are all searching for ways to better evaluate players in order to give meaningful feedback. Over 15 years ago, I put together a test called the JAMODI Skill Rating. The JSR takes players through a series of tests involving basketball skill or athleticism, giving them one rating at the end. Their JSR rating will give you clarity on what needs to be discussed with players and parents on areas they need to focus on improving. I test our players at least 4 times each year. They're able to compete against each other, past players' scores, and most importantly, their past performances. If you'd like to start testing your athletes, email me at jamodipodcast@gmail.com for more information.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, but those losses do come and players dread it because they always think they're going to have a hard practice after a loss. But, not necessarily. It's definitely more focused though. And something I did with my team last year is we had a film session and we had just beat a team by another double-digit 20-point victory. And I'm like, gosh, I got to keep them going. I had a really good group, but I'm like, I showed them film. I'm like, we're actually going to go practice like we just lost that game yesterday. And they're like, I'm like, no, we're gonna practice like we lost it. So we dialed in and we picked out the kind of the uglier parts of film and we can't get hit on that ball screen. Like, do it again, do it again, do it again. Because that's what, if we lost, we would have hammered home the poor ball screen coverage. But we won, and I still thought there was room to improve our ball screen coverage. So act like we lost, and that's what we would have hammered home. And we had kind of a saying going into every game: we're 0-0. Now, here, mind you, here we were 28 and whatever, too, or we had run 28 in a row. And I'm like, we're 0-0. Doesn't matter. We're 0-0. So any reporter that would come in and talk about the record, they're like, what are you talking about? We're 0-0.
That's a great nugget, though. How do you keep them focused? And when you win games, I think you tend to watch film less or be less critical and maybe just celebrate more. But you and I both know you can win a game and play poorly. You can lose a game and play really well. So I think it's a great idea. Let's handle both of those scenarios almost the same way. Never too high, never too low, but always trying to learn and get better. I would love to have seen their face in the moment when you said, yeah, hey, that was great, but we're going to act like we just lost. I think keeping them on their toes a little bit with that stuff, or after a horrible loss, maybe you get them donuts the next day and you kind of do something completely different than maybe how you and I were coached, which is, oh man, what is he like today? Who do we have? Which coach is showing up? I don't know. I just don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't know if I could quite bring myself to get donuts after a loss, but I
That's
hear what
extreme.
you're saying.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
That's a personal
You're
issue.
thinking that dude is so soft. Like, what am I? Yeah, I get that.
No, but I do agree. There's some, we're just talking about consistency, and there's some things daily that you want to keep the main thing, win or lose. There's these non-negotiables, and they're going to show up every day. So that's going to be pretty solid in that.
Social media is huge for any program. I don't care if it's a high school program or college. What are some ways that you use that to enhance your program?
It's a great storytelling tool, right? You can showcase your culture, you can showcase your players, you can showcase your program. There's that connectivity with fans and recruits that kind of gives you the inside glance, maybe more of a behind the scenes look, which I think is special because then you get to really know the players. You get to publicize what you're doing and how you're doing it and your why. And I think that's a great tool for everyone, who's a touch point in the program to have that connection.
I know you have people that help you with all of that, which is awesome. And I'm going to try to recruit some young students at Midway that want to help me and kind of be a part of a team. But what are some of those things that maybe you think are really fun, or things that you do that are a little bit more planned, or activities? And if you don't have anything, no problem at all.
No, the mic'd up is always a good one, whether you're micing up a coach or micing up a player. You can kind of see thought processes or even personalities with a player come through. They're really talkative, or they're kind of shy, or they're really a good teammate, and they're the energy cheerleader of the group. Like, I think that's really the mic'd up things are really cool. We're doing that one now where you kind of walk across to the locker room and there's a camera set up and there's a whiteboard that has a fun little question. So that'll give you insights. Yeah. Like today's question was, what is your hidden talent? So a fan might not have ever known that. I think Michaela said she can balance a feather anywhere on her body. So that's just really unique. And now I'm sure some fan during some point in the season is going to be like, can you really do that? I brought you a feather, bounce
I
it on your
brought a
nose.
feather.
Like those insights are so fun.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a big accessibility person. I just don't want to be shut off to one, the kids that we're mentoring. There's these kids looking up to our players. I don't want to ever them not be accessible to them. We have people coming in and out of our practices all the time, whether that's high school coaches, whether that's administrators or staff, alumni. Like I love that. So I think social media is a good way to get to know the program and the people that surround it, but then like it also invites them in a little bit more.
Yeah, when they come to games, they'll be watching players that they know more about their story. And I think you nailed it with we get to let people see the culture that maybe they are only judging us on those Tuesdays and Fridays or whatever
Mhm.
nights that you play and for your 40 minutes. But then they can kind of see that there's way more than we do than just that little bit of time. And then one thing you kind of mentioned a lot is it's fun.
Mhm.
And I want to be the kind of coach that prioritizes fun. And in my opinion, fun doesn't mean that you're not serious or disciplined or that you don't have aspirations to do special things. So I think you kind of keep it fun and light like that. And then the energy you've been bringing or talking about, it's probably even easier to bring that when it's fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't have TikTok, but that's what all these kids are doing now. So now, like, one of my players last year, Poa, when she wants to do a TikTok, I kind of roll my eyes, but I'm like, all right, this makes her so happy. Here we go. Like, teach me the dance real quick. I'm like, it has to be short. Don't make me learn a bunch of steps and moves, but here we go. I'll do something with you. What the heck? And, I think it's just, it's a new time. And I think as coaches, we always say the best ability for players is availability. Maybe adaptability for coaches is the best ability because I want to adapt. I want to be cool and hip, but I also want to understand what makes them tick and what they find joy in and be a part of that.
So glad you mentioned that you don't have TikTok. I don't either. I don't have Snapchat either. All those things when they were coming out, like I'm thankful just to be on Instagram and still call it Twitter. But all of that. I think when you mentioned you taking a risk and kind of doing some of those things, it brought me back to that word humility. Like, how can we show humility to our players? Well, don't try to act like somebody we're not, or don't be afraid to look silly and don't be afraid to take a chance and to do something fun. That's probably a reminder that I really needed right now because these players, they're feeling me out and I'm kind
Mhm.
of learning them. And so there's always a thought in my mind of how is this coming across? How are they perceiving this right now? But man, just relax, be humble, show them that you're willing to have fun and take a chance. I think I needed that reminder.
Well, I always need it too on the daily. Like, you don't have to be too cool for school. You don't have to like be this figure that has like this invisible sign on my
Yeah.
forehead, like head coach, do not approach. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
that.
Like,
I
don't
want to
take
have some
ourselves
good
too
relationships.
seriously,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gannon Baker said that you can't coach something that you don't possess. Like you can't teach something or show something that you don't. So energy, you mentioned it in a few of the posts that I've seen, especially ones that I think PGC shared. You've said that word a lot today. What are some of those daily habits that set you up for what I would imagine is the ability to have that energy?
I'm a big believer in how you do anything is how you do everything. So, like this podcast today, like I'm all in. They want me to speak at a marketing class for the MBA students. I'm all in. I'm about to hike up a mountain with the freshmen and, lead the charge, and I'm all in. So I just think like the intentionality behind my why in everything, it really matters. And so that's something that I'm not going to go to a clinic and half-heartedly give this presentation. I'm going to be all in, just like I was coaching my team. Like I don't think those practice guys like to see me coming when I do a clinic. And the volunteers that like help you
Have
do
to work.
examples.
Yeah.
I'm like pushing them and firing them up, and I'm like, "Come on, lean into this." So
Let you go first. You got to go first in the day, because if you're getting that group after the seventh or eighth person, that's brutal.
I'm still gonna get something out of them, though.
That's right. Any habits that you have with the way that you start your day that kind of sets you up the right way?
I definitely prioritize what touch points I need to hit, and I always try to keep my team and recruiting at the top of that list.
Yeah.
That's probably really important to me. So, just prioritizing what I need to do. I don't say no, so I say yes to everything, but I try to put those in an order that makes sense and keeps me sane.
Nice. That's a good reminder too. Going back to something you said about being all in. I think I'm very guilty of being all in with my program, but then forgetting that I'm a part of a staff and I'm a part of a school, and that those other sports or drama or anything else, the people in the band, as focused as I am or we are on this game, they feel the same way about what they're doing. It's something I want to really do well. I tried to do it my last few years at Faith, my former school, but definitely at Midway, is be all in for every student. And I would imagine that you and your coaching staff at Arizona State, you guys are going to do that as well.
Yeah, they're my why. I don't get into coaching. Now I'm very competitive and I want to win every game, but the real reason why this is so gratifying for me is to see these young kids grow. And like, I have a big responsibility to that. I am a big part of their daily lives. And so I just want to make sure that I'm doing right by them and making sure that we're growing together. But to see that growth is probably the most rewarding thing about this coaching gig. Is they come in as a baby freshman, when they're walking out those doors as a graduate, they're two different people. They've grown a lot in that time.
Those are the coaching paychecks. When the only ask that I really have of my players are that I get to be invited to the wedding. Like
Yeah.
I think I've done my job if they invite me to that, and not always been successful. I don't have 100% success rate with that, but I'm still working on it.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI Podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.